Hello, hello, and welcome back to the channel. As most of you know, I'm Topher. And for those of you who don't know and just randomly decided to click on my video, welcome to the channel. I'm Topher. Thank you for stopping by. So we're here to do a reaction, and we're diving back into Lovely Rider episode 12, the last half. This is the last Lovely Rider video we have, y'all. I'm so sad. So super sad. And yes, this is happening on the same day immediately after my part 1 reaction. For whatever reason, I didn't even think about it until I hit stop on recording that half of the reaction, and I was like, you know what? I've got a Lovely Rider shirt. Why am I not wearing my Lovely Rider shirt for the finale? Why am I wearing, like, yes, I love Tale of a Thousand Stars, don't get me wrong, some beautiful series. But I'm like, why am I not wearing my Lovely Rider shirt? So I yelled at myself so much. I went digging, I found it, I put it on, and here we are. So we're finishing out the series dressed appropriately. And yeah, we're just gonna dive on in and see where this goes. I believe these last two halves are a little bit more than 40 minutes, so the YouTube edit's going to be a little bit of a trim, but not too drastic. But the link to the full one will be in the description. So yeah, I'm just going to dive on in. Okay. So the only real question I have about that ending is, were Jean and Sib just like characters in her head this entire time? So like that last scene was just her, I guess, trying to get motivation or something, and she just saw the scene unfold in front of her. Type, and then boom. She got the inspiration, got the ending, boom. Oh, and we want to make your novel into a series. Oh yeah, blah blah. Okay, cool. So Lovely Rider, that's how, at least I'm assuming that's how it came about. Maybe, it's a little, glamorization for the sake of the series for Hollywood or whatever, but like, so were they just characters in her novel this entire time? And if so, the only conflict I have with that idea, I'm fine with that. It's like a story inside a story inside a story. It's very, very ultra levels of meta. But the only issue I have with that being the case is, then who the hell are the people on her computer? If they're just characters and not real people, who are these people on her laptop? Who's this people on her background? Where she just got two random ass people? I mean, I guess that really doesn't matter because I got random ass people on my backgrounds too. So people I don't know. So never mind. I guess we'll take that out. Well, I answered my own damn question. It doesn't matter. But yeah, it was a cute ending. My only real kind of reservation with the last half of this episode, so it's parts 3 and parts 4. Part 3 I actually felt fine with. Although I feel like the resolution that happened in part 3, I wasn't expecting to happen until part 4. So I feel like we resolved all of the issues a little quickly. And then part 4 felt long because we spent so much time in these fairy tale, oh, how we're gonna end the story, how are we gonna end the story, how are we gonna end the story. And I think the idea was cute. That, okay, well, what if we ended it like this in this fairy tale? Oh, what if we ended in this fairy tale? And those ideas were cute. I just feel like we lingered in those scenes for too long. If throughout the entire series that had been a continuous through line, sporadically throughout episodes, maybe not even every episode, maybe every other episode or something like that. If we had those moments where we had these fantasy things playing out between Jean and Sib, acting out these different fairy tales or some other scenarios, if we had these fantasy moments between them throughout, then I feel like that would have been a nice callback and a nice way to just tie everything up in a nice bow to, okay, how are we going to end it? Maybe we'll end it with this ending, or maybe this ending or that ending. It was still a cute idea, without them having the fantasy moments throughout the series. I just feel like we lingered in those moments for far too long, and I feel like we could have spent more of the time doing other things. Either, like I said, I felt like the resolution came a little quick with it happening in part 3, so maybe we could have filled out part 3 a little bit more and shortened up part 4. maybe we could have addressed some of the things with Oi, because he's last time we saw him, he was crying, eating flowers. That didn't seem like a great place. Or maybe we could have, visited Heen a little bit, or we could have Tiffy and Tom, got a little bit more of them. Like, there's lots of places that we could have gone, or lots of things that we could have done to flesh out part 3, and like part 3 just felt kind of short, and part 4 felt very, very long. So even if we didn't flesh out more of part 3, I feel like part 4, when we were in those fantasy scenes, if we wanted to keep that idea, we could have just cut each of those fantasy scenes in like a third. So rather than me playing out the entire song and dance of Cinderella, we could have just jumped straight to, okay, we're dancing, we get the idea who it's supposed to be, clock strikes, oh, bye, oh, this ending's not going to work. Instead of doing the entire Romeo and Juliet, where, okay, he's going to show up, oh, you're dead, and blah, 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 we could have just jumped straight to, oh, you're dead, poison. We could have sped all that stuff up. Like, so it just felt a little long, and I'm like, is this really how we're going to finish the series? Like, we've had such amazing writing and directing and acting all throughout. Are we really just going to spend the last like 20 minutes cycling through a bunch of scenarios? So yeah, the idea was cute, but I feel like the actual execution just needed some fine-tuning and shortening. But I like the final ending that they ended up with. Like, oh, well, finally, we're just gonna kiss. I'm like, okay, this is beautiful. 8, 9, 7, 10, kiss, boom, boom. That's not how you count. Those aren't the numbers. Those are the numbers, but that's not how you count. Whatever, kiss, and they kissed, and it was beautiful. I'm like, okay, this is sweet. And then we had the little afterthought where it's like, okay, they're going on this little date, and they're getting stopped because they're like, oh, Gene's famous now because he's writing his story, and he's writing it as, he's a man in the BL industry, and he's like, you know what, I'm writing it, I don't care if people know, and it was written from our love, and this, that, and the other. And it's like, oh, this is sweet, I love this little after moment that we're getting here. And then lo and behold, it's all just part of the original writer's mental thought process of how she came up with this. I'm like, okay, that is a cute touch. That is a very cute touch. Yeah, so all in all, I like the ending, and I like how it kind of all just came back to being a story in a story in a story. Like, we're telling a story of Gene who's trying to write his novel and tell his story about the BL industry, and all of that is just another story. It's a fun little tie in there. But yeah, I really liked the part 3. Part 3, like, before they made up, well, I like that they made up, but part 3, before they made up, just all of the, well, I guess it was the end of part, no, wait, what? Hold on. Sorry, now I gotta go look at things. Hold on, one moment. Part 3. Part 3 ended Tom quitting with his sister. I'll talk. Oh yeah, so part 3 ended with what I was thinking of, and then part 4 picked up on that. Okay. I was having a brain fart. I'm like, what's happening here? What's going on in my head? But yeah, I liked how part 3 with Gene, and like I've said so many times throughout this episode, all these quiet moments where the actors themselves aren't actually saying anything, and they're just portraying all of these emotions and all of these scenes so amazingly. So I loved how, after talking to his brother, Gene went on this just memory journey, walked down memory lane of these scenes that we saw earlier in the series, and just kind of revisiting it and seeing it from Sib's point of view, like when he was coming up the stairs and Sib was walking or sitting outside the door, because the big boys abandoned him when they were playing hide and seek. And like how he's reliving all these memories with, Sib sleeping in bed together and just kind of, hugging, embracing each other, and, sleeping in the exact same position, and like all of those moments that he was just walking through memory lane and reliving. It's so beautifully done, so beautifully done. The acting was so well done, because again, he didn't have a damn bit of dialogue to say. We were replaying all the dialogue that the kids were saying from those scenes, but like he up didn't have anything to say in these scenes. He was just reacting to just stuff without having anything. And I don't even know if he was in, like, the way it was shot, like if he was actually there in those scenes, or if we just kind of superimposed him as like, okay, post-production, whatnot. I mean, it would make sense, like when they shot those scenes, that they had the foresight to just shoot in advance just from the other side of the door with him there. That would make sense. Yeah, but either way, like, he's not responding to any of the dialogue that's happening. He's just reacting to everything that's happening around him, and it's just so well done, so effective. And then the transition from him, you know, walking outside, and then Sib tapping him on the shoulder, and he's like, Sib, and it's little Sib. He's like, count to 10. And then he starts counting to 10, and we flash, and it's young Jean, and then we pan past him, and it's Sib, and then it's Jean, and then we kiss, and we make up, and it's beautiful. I'm like, oh, I love this, I love it. Because again, one thing that, well, I'm not really gonna say again, I had these thoughts in my head, I don't know that I actually vocalized them, but like, one thing with this particular episode, just all episode 12 in general, like, yeah, they broke up for the sake of Sib's career and all that kind of stuff, but I'm like, the love is still there. Like, you guys might not be together, but it's like, you guys didn't break up because one of you guys cheated, or one of you guys got heartbroken or something like that. Like, literally, you guys broke up because of this career stuff. So it's not that you guys don't love each other, and it's not like you guys couldn't just get back together. Like, all it would take is a phone call or a text saying, hey, I miss you, from either of them, and the other one would probably come, well, it would probably have to come from Jean, because I feel like if Sib texted that, Jean would just be hard-headed and, you know, stubborn, and be like, no, I gotta stay away because it's for your career or whatnot, even though he's dying inside, and he wants him some Sib. But yeah, I feel like throughout this entire time jump that we had, at any point then, either one of them could have just caved in and been like, hey, I love you, I miss you, can we do this again? But we didn't choose to do that because we had, you know, whatever obligations we made for career and all that jazz. But then we saw where everyone kind of just left the company. So we saw Tiffy left the company earlier on when she told Oi. Tom had the scene with his sister where he left the company. Another powerful scene between the two of them. They only had, like, really the two scenes this episode and last episode where they interacted, but man, did they make the most of it. The actress who's playing Tom's sister, oh man, is she good. But yeah, so Tom and Tiffy left the company, Sib left the company. I'm assuming the contract Sib was signing at the end with Tiffy and Tom was like a representation contract, so maybe they're starting their own talent agency or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, basically they made whatever clean break they needed to make from the company so that Sib could just say, hey, I'm not with them, I don't have any obligations to them, and now there's nothing standing in the way. Although nothing should have been standing in the way to begin with, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again. I've said it a million times already. Yeah. One thing I did see in the comment section, I've seen a couple times, is some people feel like they underutilized some of the secondary characters in this series, like Heen's storyline or Tom and his sister, and I don't know that I necessarily agree that they underutilize them. I think they utilize them very effectively, because the last thing you want to do is to oversaturate the series with too many storylines. I feel like I had that problem with Oxygen or another series at some point, where it's like, okay, there's too many unnecessary things happening right now where we could have just boiled it down to these basics. So I don't think that they underutilized any of the characters, because right now this series, the focus was Sib and Jean, and yes, giving this narrative, telling this story about the BL industry, giving this behind the scenes look at things that are going on and trying to, bring this awareness to the public. Like, hey, this is what your actions are causing to some people. But at its heart, we're focusing on Sid and Jean. So I feel like the series did a good job of focusing on Sid and Jean. Yes, we had all of this great development from all these other characters. And I feel like us wanting to see more of them is just a sign of great directing, great acting, great writing. And yeah, I think that any of these side characters could have a sequel series or a spin-off series. Like a series with Tom and Tiffy, a series with a backstory series with Tom and Tarm, is that his sister? Or a current series in the future with the two of them. A series dedicated to Oi, because he got no resolution at the end of this, and he's still empty and broken. A series with Oi and Muck, or Oi and his sister, or Muck and Oi's sister, or like a series about Heen and his family. Like, there's so many amazing characters that were written into the story and that got developed to a certain degree, some more than others. But yeah, any one of them could have a spin-off series. Any one of them could have a sequel series, and I would dive into it. I would eat it up. Nom 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 nom. Give it to me. Yeah, that's just a sign of just good writing, good acting, good directing. Just everything about it was so good. So yeah, it was a very nice ending to the series. I would change those couple things I mentioned in the beginning, just to make things flow a little bit more, I don't know, not really quickly, but just at a better pace. Though part 4 just felt long for me, and a lot of it felt a little unnecessary. But yeah, we made it, and we had, lots of good commentary, lots of good talks throughout this series. And if you guys made it this far into my reactions to the series, if you made it this far into, this particular reaction video, but also just this far in the series with me, thank you for joining me. And if there's any takeaway I could really say about this, it's just, as fans of this genre, and it's not even just fans, like, it's not all on the fans, because obviously there's people in higher power who are also pushing this kind of narrative with their actors and trying to sell these fantasies and whatnot. But like, as fans of these series, like, just be mindful that yes, these actors are cute together and they have great chemistry together, but at the end of the day, they're actors, and this is just a job. Like, I'm sure they're happy to do this job, but it's just a job, and that doesn't entitle any of us to their personal lives. That doesn't entitle any of us to, have any claim over who they should and shouldn't date. Like I mentioned before, there are lots of actors who do multiple series, and they will star with other people in other ships, and they should be allowed to do that. They should be allowed to be in other ships. Just because you fell in love with them in one place doesn't mean that they shouldn't be allowed to have any kind of either professional relationship or romantic relationship with people who aren't that person. Like, I first was introduced to Cal, the actor playing Gene, in Until We Meet Again, and he was part of quite an important ship in that series, and I love that ship. But then coming into this series, I'm like, I love this ship too. And now I don't expect him to be dating Up or Earth. I don't expect him to be dating either. Like, he can if he wants to. He can date both of them. I'd watch that. But like, he doesn't have to. Like, he can live his life. I understand he's an actor, and he's an amazing actor. He does his job amazingly. Like, there's so many other actors like that where it's like, yeah, so just, keep in mind, they're actors and they have their lives too. And while it's nice to see them do all this kind of stuff, we don't want to promote this sort of toxic environment where they feel like they have to. They have to give the fan service. They have to, put up these illusions and these fantasies in their personal life just so people will watch their stuff. Like, let's not continue to breed that negative narrative into the universe. But yeah, it was a very well written series, very well acted series. Soundtrack, love. And yeah, I'm gonna miss this one. I'm gonna miss it. But it was a fun little journey, so thank you guys for joining me on it. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction and this journey that we went on. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on notifications so you'll be notified when all of my shenanigans get posted. If there's anything else you'd like me to react to, be sure to leave it down in the comments and I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, you're more than welcome to join us over on Patreon. You don't have to, but you're more than welcome to if you want to. I'll see you guys in my next video. Love you. And before you guys go, a shout out to my amazing patrons. I can't begin to express how thankful I am for your support. And if you guys would like to join us over on Patreon, the link is down in the description. Love you guys.